Hey everybody, welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out live. We are going to be, it came to my attention that we may have not done a very concise video between a comparison of the membership areas in ClickFunnels Classic and the courses, or we still call them memberships, in 2.0. So we had some questions popping up in the group about that. So I thought it would be great for us to do a comparison today, and we can tell you which one we're still using, and what we like and what we don't like. So that's what's going to be in this episode right now. This, I'm like getting all formal. Funnel Hacker TV is like changed my intro. This is Andrea. This is Dan, and I'm Susan.
I was going to wait for
We
you.
were the informal, not perfect, just
Roll
go
the
Geek.
intro. We don't have an intro. Okay. All right. So hopefully we're live in all the places right now. But say hello if you're joining us, and let us know that you can see us and hear us. Okay, so I have a visual to kick us off, and then we're going to be showing off a lot of stuff. We're going to show off some 2.0 stuff, some 1.0 stuff, and all the things. But and Dan, I actually am going to lean on you to talk about this part a lot, but let me orient everybody to what this is showing. So there is a very big difference between how ClickFunnels Classic membership areas are built and 2.0 courses membership areas are built. And this is an attempt to show those differences. You can see that Classic, we have one box here. This represents a page. Classic memberships are built on one page, and everything is on one page. And Dan, you can totally talk more about that in a second. But this is like representing the typical things we see on the pages, right? We have like our header with usually a logo. Maybe there's a little bit of navigation, like log out link up at the top. And then we have the sidebar navigation that like expands and collapses, opens up your sections, and has your lessons in there. And then this is the content area. And I'm actually going to move this. This is the content area here. This spot that the lessons are loading on the same page. And when you click on any new lesson, it just loads it right here. Like there's no page reload happening. It's just switching between what's showing. Then 2.0 is very different in that like everything has its own page. There's a customer center, which is we'll show you what that is in a minute. But that is like the biggest improvement I think that they've made in 2.0 is adding the customer center. We'll show that. Then there is course homepage, which you click on your customer center icon. It loads you into, like, think of these as like products, right? Or your offers. You click into one, it loads this next page. And then this is really, I think the intention is to show the modules. Yes. And then you click on the module and then it loads you to this page. And this is showing all the lessons that are in the module. And then you click on your lesson and then finally you are loaded to what the page is, the lesson page, which is content area. And what you don't see here is that you have a lesson page for every single lesson. So this is however many lessons you have, there is a page for all of it. Dan, what else do you want to say about that? What did I miss?
Well, no, you hit it all. But just to go back to Classic, how it works is any content that you have access to will load when the page loads. So anything in a membership area that is not restricted to you for some reason, you will see on the page because it will load when the page loads. Now, if a tag is set, if a product is set that makes it so you don't have access to it, well, that will not load, which is good from a security standpoint. It will not load. Also, the if something is on drip delay. So if it's not available for 2 more days, again, it will not load onto the page. But the nice thing about it is, I mean, besides those things, is it is one page. So once that page is done loading, it is instantaneous. when you click on something, boom, that content appears. It appears. It may take a second longer for a 1.0 page to load than a 2.0 customer center page, but then you have to wait for every single additional page to load going forward. So if I had my wish, I would say, ClickFunnels, please do in 2.0 what you did in 1.0 and have it all load onto one page. Otherwise, what you said about 2.0 is absolutely correct, is that you have these intermediary pages, and it unfortunately reminds me a lot of Kajabi, where you had these intermediary pages that I always thought were completely useless, because all you really need is the course center page, which tells you all the different courses that you have access to, a customer center page, and then the lessons themselves. And again, within the lessons, you have a sidebar, which there is a sidebar element in 2.0. But again, problem comes every time you click on a lesson, it takes you to a new page. And so it's a lot slower. And frankly, it's a lot more tedious to work with. And if they could smush those together, take out the course home and the module page and just make it 2 pages, it would be absolutely incredible.
Okay. So I'm going to just kind of explore that for a second with you, Dan, because I can appreciate the course homepage from when I was doing our initial build of Geek Out Academy. But the only reason that I liked having it there is because it created a dedicated space. I actually didn't use it this way. Well, I did a little bit. We had
well, again,
so one of these is Geek Out Academy. And
right.
We're clicking into it. Then this is loading the welcome area for Geek Out Academy. And I was able to put free content up here. Actually, no, that was in here. Maybe I should just pull it up. We have it right here. So I don't have to try to remember what we did.
Let's just say this. The intended purpose of the course homepage is to display all of the modules.
Okay.
Intended purpose of the module page is display lessons.
Yes.
And so, yes, is there a possibility that there is a need for a course page, a course homepage, to do something other than show all the modules? Then, yeah, okay, maybe you do want that page there to be able to be like a splash page. You're coming into the course. Here's your splash page. Watch this video first. Make sure you do these things. A place where you put announcements, things like that. But then somewhere on there you go, boom, okay, go to the lessons, or you actually just put the sidebar navigation on that page as well. Then they can click on something and then open up the lessons. That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah. So just for clarity's sake, I did duplicate this page. So this is what we have. This is what they've given us in both of the areas. And then I was starting to make it okay, this is what we would want it to be like. And we can keep working on that in a minute. But since we're talking about the 2.0 and how the pages work, I was going to pull up the 2.0 membership. I'll just show that. So give me a second to share the right screen. And this one here. So the way that I have this one built is actually not using it the intended way, just so that everyone is clear. All right. Hopefully that's sharing the right screen. Are we sharing the right screen?
No, you're not sharing any screen right now.
There we are. Okay. Okay. So then this is actually what is the customer center page. And I built it a little bit differently, but these are the free resources I wanted to put on here. And then here's our paid. If I go to ClickFunnels, .com, what is it? Customer-center. Hopefully I'm logged in. This is the ClickFunnels customer center page. So this is typically what we see.
Hey, Susan, we're only seeing,
Yeah, I see that now. I shared only the tab, not the entire window.
Well, yeah, if you haven't reset your password yet, you might have to, because they redid that.
They did a mass rollout,
Of 2.0 too?
Yeah, 1.0 and 2.0.
2.0.
I didn't notice 2.0. Okay. Anyway, so this is the customer center for ClickFunnels. So these are the different products that I have. It's like I'm going to pick my product and I'm going to enter the area. So that's what this page is for the one that I built. Only I wanted to add like there's free stuff too, to use the area as a lead gen. So this is the customer center page. Then we click into one of the products and okay, hold on. I have logged in twice in the last 5 minutes now.
I know
one of our
this
other
is
issues with it.
Yeah. I think they did a mass rollout of logins for both 1.0 and it affected 2.0 because I've had to log in several times in 2.0 today too.
Greg Dakin said this morning on the funnel builder certification call that there were one for each platform. So it was done on purpose on both.
Okay, but I have logged into this using Magic Link 3 times since we've started this live stream. Okay, we are not on the right thing. Hang on a second.
And I found that when I reset my password, it didn't take, and the next time I went back in, I had to use the Magic Link again. So there's still some bugs in there. They're working on it.
And I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to get into this right now.
I can.
All right. So what was I saying? Maybe I can just use the graphic.
You were making the comparison between the ClickFunnels, what you saw with Russell, and then what you did, and then how you made the bridge between the module and the lesson.
Andrea, can you get into that account if you got a shared account or whatever?
Yeah, let me try.
Workspace.
Showing messages. We're going to figure this out because I'm in the area, already signed in. Okay, it's having some problems when I try to get into our Geek Out Academy spot. So we're going to just not do that. And instead, I'm just going to tell you about it using Canva.
Well, I actually think though, Susan, I'm not glad that this is happening, but I think this is one of the things with 2.0, right? And that with 1.0, we have complete control, or at least we know everything there is to know about the access page and in the area page, right? Like we understand the relationship, we understand how to connect those two, like we understand everything about it. Where there's still a little bit of like this black box unknown around the customer portal sign-in page. And it seems like we're not able to have as much control over that.
Yeah. And to be fair, like I haven't tried logging in with a password, which I think is more reliable when logging into a 2.0 membership area. I don't even know that I have a password set up for this one. I've been just using the Magic Link and it seems to be having some problems right now. But what I was going to show you was the course home, I think is what started this. So I like to use the course home as like this dedicated welcome page. Like it's where they land when they're coming in and you're like, it's like this new space, right? Here's my welcome video to you, like welcome to Geek Out Academy. Here's it's almost like we haven't talked about this yet. We're going to be talking about in the workshop right after this live, but what Andrea calls phase 0 is how I think of the course homepage, which is where you're kind of orienting people to what they're in. But one of the problems to that is that when you click in from off the customer center, when you're clicking into a product, it will always land people on that course homepage, and it's never going to take people to where they last left off. So they're always going to have to hit that course homepage, which could get annoying after a while. Like, I just want to go back to the lesson I was on. On the course homepage, there might be the ability to click something and then go to where they last left off. But that's not what they've given us. They've given us a page in between that we have to click to. And then even then we have to click into the lesson we want. So there isn't really anything happening where and I think this was a problem that we saw early on too, right, Andrea? When we started seeing like the first things that they were building in 2.0, even with the initial 2CCX membership area, we were like getting lost. We were like, I don't even know where I'm at right now. And I don't even know how to find what I want to find. Now, the membership area that they've given to 2CCX is much better now, but it doesn't follow this at all. They built it custom and it doesn't even follow the framework that they've given us to use in 2.0.
Yeah.
So there's a problem there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of custom coding on that page as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've talked a lot about 2.0 and what we don't like about it. It doesn't give us very much control. There's a lot of steps on even out of the box for someone who isn't as in it as we are and technically savvy with ClickFunnels in general. It's really difficult to know what to do. They've given 4 pages as part of the themes that are connected to the courses. And it took us a lot of hours to understand what all those pages are, what they do, and how they all work together. And I don't think it shouldn't be that complicated. Like I would much rather have the classic. So that leads us to showing off.
Well, and
classic.
I think there's, because again, I think when you're developing software and you're providing software, right? I think that there's really kind of these these three stakeholders in the mix, right? So I think what they're trying to do with 2.0 is they're trying to make something that is easy to use and easy to build, which is awesome. And I commend them, and they're going to need to do that. And if they want to cross the chasm, right? If we use that adoption language. But the problem is that when you give somebody something easy to use and easy to build, I think ClickFunnels also has to take on that the average person building, yes, they need easy to use, but they also, if you're not going to allow us the flexibility to be able to control our customer experience, well, then you have to own it and make it good. So like it's kind of a little bit of a difficulty side on both sides, right? Where it's not so easy to use or understand, and there doesn't seem to be any onus of what the end customer experience is for the people that we are building for, which again, I don't have a huge problem with that if you give us the control to be able to do that, to make the changes ourselves, but that just isn't the case. And so there's a little bit, it's a difficulty on both sides.
Well, and from a standpoint of doing any kind of fancy stuff like we like to do on ours and put in a lot of customer experience, again, the issue with there being multiple pages for each one of the lessons is you have to take that into account. And is there easy ways to be able to go from one lesson to the next when each one is on an individual URL? On its own individual page? Makes it much more difficult to move back and forth in amongst the content, and then also to be able to give every single page the same look and feel. You can do it, but again, that goes back to what we have to do is we have to use the templates. You have to build your own templates, and then you got to build the lesson content, have the lesson content go inside it's just added levels of complexity that just make it more difficult to work with.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
So
yeah.
should we show off? Okay. So we're essentially by the end of this video, we're going to be talking about 3 different things: classic out of the box, classic custom, and then we've talked about 2.0 already. So let's switch over to the classic stuff. And Andrea, if you have stuff to show off for that, I will stop sharing. And I was just saying before we went live to Andrea and Dan that I much prefer classic out of the box to 2.0. That's how much I'm not liking 2.0 courses. And it's just because of the complexity. And obviously you saw that there's login issues right now. Like I couldn't even get logged into my own thing. And a lot of, like in the past, a lot of people have really ragged on membership areas in Classic. Like they really did not like them. And a lot of people would move away because of like, oh, membership areas and ClickFunnels is awful. And I actually disagree. I think the main reason people were moving away was to get something that was like the customer center page, a place where it was like a single login that all of their products would show and everyone could access it with just one login. That was the biggest problem with Classic, is that for every membership area, you have to have a different login. And unless you want to stick everything into one membership area, which if not done properly gets really overwhelming and confusing for people, that's the biggest problem.
Well, and that
But
was honestly like when we were able to scale from an agency side, and charge a lot for these is when we figured out the multi-level
yeah,
membership area, right?
yeah. So with code, we fixed that. But
Right.
out of the box, if you just have a single course, a single product to put together, ClickFunnels Classic is like so much better to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's gonna be faster for you to get it set up and launched.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to show you. So this is, man, it's like a walk down memory lane. So this was probably my 4th ever membership build. So I didn't know a lot about ClickFunnels. I knew Dan Havey at the time, that crazy guy over there. And I knew that we had identified these 6 things that I said, Dan, these are the 6 things that I just despise about 1.0. Can you fix them? Right. And so one of them was an auto scroll to the content. Another one was if the lessons are, if I'm like way down here and I click on something, it doesn't do anything. So that's the auto scroll, which is really nice. It also auto collapses all my other sections, right? Another thing that I wanted to be able to do was like change the nav, like how do I know what's active and how do I know what's different, in terms of the offerings, right? So being able to color these things. And then also just the mobile experience. What do I do with the nav so that it's more mobile friendly? And then how do I add like an always pervasive, I want to go to support, right? These were just some of like the minor things that I was like, these things are big pain points. But that was it. At my journey at that time, I didn't have the pain point of multi-level. I just knew that 1.0 out of the box was rich. So this is what you're seeing here again, it was I think a 30-day challenge. He is working on metabolic reset. It was a 3-tiered offer structure and it's pretty basic. And, thanks again to Catherine Jones, who gave me some inspiration in terms of just like design wise, what we could do in terms of like, okay, we have a main content area and then we know that we have these action items. And so let's go do that. So again, like this is all just basic out of the box ClickFunnels functionality. This is no extra code on here aside from those 6 things that I mentioned just before this. It is just colors and element manipulation. And that's it. And this was more than sufficient for what he needed and where they were going. And I didn't even think you had your next and previous, Dan. So I think this next and previous is actually a Safe Pro Tools. And so this was, again, just out of the box, something that I could do. So to your point, Susan, this is better than 2.0 to me. And it is, it's nice. It's visually appealing. A customer can, I can control the customer experience. He also had because it was a 2-tier. So he had the first tier only got up to day 12. And then after day 12, it was the 2nd tier. So I had that as an upsell. And I just did the like non-fancy Wasabi OTO upsell where they just, it showed right here, like, oh, you don't have access to this, click here. And it directed them to the sales page for the upsell. So super easy, awesome, added all of that in. So were you going to say something, Dan?
No, I was just saying that the previous next on that one probably is Jamie's.
Yeah. Yep. Because I don't even think you and I had started talking about previous and next at that point in our journey. Yeah. So, okay. So then the next one, this is another one that planted the seed. So this is where I'm like, okay, this is cool. All right. How do we take it to the next level? So this was the next one that I saw. Was it this one? No, it's not this one. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. Let me pull that up. Dan, did you observe anything else, or Susan, in that 1.0 build that I just showed? That
I think it's just important to point out that there's a lot of platforms out there you could choose to go put your program into. One of the problems that I have with the other ones is that they all look the same. Like they look like everyone's stuff looks exactly the same. Like you can't customize it. And just with the one that you were showing us, you added a couple of things for code, but it was like they were very minor. It was more functional. It looked beautiful. Like it was branded. It looked custom to that person. It looked like it could have been, I mean, for those of us that know that it's a ClickFunnels membership area, it's obvious. But for the outsiders, like it doesn't look like it's a template. It looks like maybe it was a custom built from scratch type site. And I think that's one of the coolest things about ClickFunnels, Classic or 2.0. Like both of them allow you to design it the way that you want to visually, like aesthetically, you can make it part of your brand. And that is something that doesn't get talked about enough. And Andrea talks about it a lot. It's part of your world creation. Like when people come into your program, they should feel like they're in a different space. It's like they should feel like they are in somewhere where things are possible, that they cannot happen outside of that space. And it's cool that we're able to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know that we're close on time and we have a workshop right after this. So I'll just show this really quick. This was another one that this also planted the seed. And I think this is really where, when I went back to Dan and I was like, Dan, this is the kind of stuff that we need to build. So it was this one. So I can't claim credit. I didn't build this original. I've built similar ones since, but I was like, this is what you are looking at right now is a 1.0 membership. So this is, and this again was done by people who, there's a little bit of code in here, but for the most part, they just changed a few of the elements. So you can see here, they show hide this navigation schema, right? Again, super cool. And I could just come in and then it would go to the different places. Or I go to live workouts and it has, this is just the content area. They just switched it.
And that's really, really cool because you could literally, what you're showing us right now with that show hide thing, other than like the smooth, like showing and hiding it, like that smooth transition, like you can do that with no code. The transition, you need code, but you can do this type of navigation without code.
Exactly. Yeah. And this was actually one of the first encounters I had with the reference library model, right? Was like, oh, this is really interesting. So again, this is all this is this is just an image. And then the image pulls up a pop-out video. And again, that is not extra code. That is just normal 1.0 behavior. And so anyway, so after I saw that, and then again, this is like it goes out to the Facebook group. They had a podcast. It goes out to their podcast. They refer a friend program and it goes out to the refer a friend. So, and then this is like, review us. I think this, goes out to a survey to review us. So this is just the pervasive stuff on the screen. This is a playlist. It goes out to a Spotify playlist, so like, anyway, it was super cool. And this is what planted the seed. And I think if you fast forward now, Dan, Susan, and I started going really deep on 1.0 memberships, and now we're able to do stuff like this. So this is Path to Prosperity. And this is where they had 10 different tracks. So they had a main sprint, and then they had 9 tracks after people got through the first sprint. And so you can see like every single one of these is an offer of itself. And then here's where you start. You can come in. This is where this would light up as we were going. We can have badges and awards. And again, this is all done in 1.0 because we had the ability and the flexibility to be able to manipulate the customer experience as we wanted. So again, I think my plea along with you guys is just with 2.0, give us the ability to manage our customers' experience. And allow us to do some of the stuff. So this is just, Dan, anything else you want me to highlight on this? This is like a Vimeo. If you guys constant problems we have a lot of times with coaching programs is that they have every weekly meetings and they always have replays. Well, in managing replays is kind of a pain. So Vimeo and Elf Sites has this great plugin where I can just plug in basically a group of Vimeo videos. So we just have a VA going in, adding the video to a group, and then now you can see a full list of all of the archive of the weekly replays. And the VA doesn't need to be able to come into ClickFunnels and do anything, right? Or the events, we have somebody managing the add event calendar. So it just populates here and people can add the event to their calendar. So super simple stuff. Again, all possible with 1.0 because of the flexibility that it gives us.
Last thoughts, Dan?
Well, I want to share one because I think it's without a doubt the one that I built that just shows that you could do anything you want. So let me just share my screen real quick here. And then we can get out of here. So I will share my screen, entire screen, share the screen. Okay, come on. You got to click like 12 times. See, there's another one of these where you got to click like 12 times to get somewhere. All right, can you guys see this now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one I built for the guys who run the Kidpreneurs books. And what we did on this here, we apparently have a mouse in my pocket, is this here is actually, when you click on this, this actually takes you through the course itself. So if you look over here on the right-hand side, as I come down here and I click on introduction, it takes me to the introduction lessons. And so now this lesson is open right now. If we click on number 2 here, it opens up another lesson, third lesson right here. And we can go down here, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of this is done by using the basics of how a ClickFunnels 1.0 membership works and add a little bit of code to it. And you can do something crazy like take an image and turn it into a membership site. So something like this would be good for, some sort of kids reading training or something like that. So I just wanted to show that to everybody real quick.
It's
So
very
cool.
cool.
Give you an idea of what can be done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we do need to run off to our workshop, but this hopefully it was helpful to you to understand where we're coming from. We've used 1.0, we've used 2.0, and there's things that we like and dislike about both, but Classic 1.0 allows us to be able to change what we don't like about it. 2.0 does to an extent, but it's more difficult. It's more complex, and it really out of the box, it's going to be hard for the average user to use, I believe. So that's, I think, where we stand on it. That's why we choose Classic. So our ideal tech stack is continue to use Classic for these membership builds, but we are using 2.0 for the funnels and funnel hubs. And that's like, we're using both together. I don't think for the most part, we are building funnels in 1.0 anymore, other than
No,
for
we're
the
really
few
trying hard
people-
not to.
Yeah, I was going to say for the few
Yeah.
people that don't have 2.0 yet and they have everything in 1.0 still, it's like, yeah, but for the most part, we're not building anything new in 1.0 as far as funnels go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. If you liked this type of content where we're comparing some things together, let us know. We'll do more of it. And if you have any other questions about the membership areas, either Classic or 2.0, let us know and we can make more content around that. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Awesome. Bye, guys.